Welcome everyone. I'm going to talk about Bitcoin. The node is SV, but we're talking about Bitcoin. It hasn't changed. It goes back to the original. And over the years, many people have tried to change it. And I'll give you a reason why. Because it's immutable. The thing people don't want is something that is legal. All these things that we're seeing now, all of the current changes of side chains and lightning and whatever else, there's one reason: they're not immutable. Here's the problem: FSMA. Anyone know what FSMA is? It's called law. Law applies to the blockchain. Trust me, it applies completely. It is the ultimate system for law, because unlike these scams in the 90s, nothing gets deleted. It's perfect that way. It's an evidence trail that lasts eternity. So 20 years down the track, you can come back and still prosecute someone. And that's the great thing with it. That's why it's actually going to be liked by government. That's why, unlike all the problems that we saw with Xiaomi and eCash that failed, not because it's central, because it was anonymous. Xiaomi and eCash was truly anonymous. That's why the Americans cracked down on it. That's why people went to jail. That's why we don't have Xiaomi and eCash now. Very simple. You have, under FSMA, a requirement for an immutable worm, or write once, read many, drive. Every single transaction you ever transact, by law, has to be recorded. If it's not, and you're a trader, an exchange, CEO of a public company, it's jail. FSMA resulted in one company in the US getting a $14 million fine and a number of other things last year. So when you have Lightning and you're a money handler node, enjoy bending over and letting the feds have their fun, because that's what's going to happen. Go for it. I'd love to see all those people trying this. So anyway, we're going to talk about storing data immutably. Now, everyone goes, oh, but it's a public blockchain. So what? That's what cryptography does. We can actually encrypt data. Right now, we have public internet. Years ago, we had intranets, we had Banyan, IPX, etc. All these different competing protocols. And guess how many are surviving now? Anyone? One. This is a protocol war. That simple. If anyone ever tells you that they're a blockchain that's going to work with other people, they're lying. No one does. ICOs don't work the same. It's very simple. The security model is one survives or none survive. Full stop. It's binary. The end. Now, lots of problems have happened in this space. I mean, I've been around forever. I had arguments with Hal Finney back in 2010, before he disappeared, before I did whatever else. And the biggest problem that actually happened back then was allowing these things not to be fixed, not to actually fight and ensure that things happen the way they were, to allow a group of people who want to ensure that Silk Road can survive. Tell you what, Silk Road can't survive. I've started publishing again. I've got 13 papers accepted this month in academic conferences. You're going to soon figure out what I've been doing. We've got our patent attorneys there, and they've been doing all this stuff, and we are going to bring the environment that is going to make one universal system. Not so that you can go out on a scam exchange and pump a coin. That is the exact opposite of what blockchain is designed for. In the 90s, for those old enough, you should remember that there was web IPO. There were web stock companies where you would sign up on a web page and they would give you stock. One of the reasons Arthur Andersen also fought a whole lot of things, and no one remembers them anymore, do they? That big 5 company, now 4, disappeared because of deleting records. Deleting records can't happen on a blockchain. That's why it's powerful, because it's honest. And we can encrypt data and keep it. And on-chain scaling works. Why? Not just Moore's law, but networks. Over time, we have exponential growth. Exponential is something that is really difficult for most people to understand. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter that you don't understand the magic math that make exponential work. Everything gets faster. Moore's law is not ending, and networks are not getting slower. By the next few years, you're going to see faster and faster fibers. Fiber technology has got to the point where the entire internet can be put down one strand. One multi-mode fiber can actually do nearly a zettabyte now. And you can put hundreds of these in a cable. Basically, we have more network bandwidth than we know what to do with. And we're growing. And it's getting better. So, the concept is very simple. We have a number of competing systems that act to secure everything. Bitcoin, the idea of peer-to-peer is not new. Peer-to-peer means Alice and Bob transact. That's it. That's the secret. Now that actually goes back, and Blind Shawmy and eCash did this in the early 90s. Actually goes back to the 80s when he first did it. And one of the problems, of course, was too many people like Hell and now the others want something anonymous. Unfortunately, Hell's gone, but listening to him was probably a big mistake. But we can't have anonymous. We want private. Private means no one knows what you're doing unless there's a problem. It's traceable. The police can't go and raid you for everything. There's so much data out there, it is not funny, and it's growing. Facebook alone has 600 petabytes worth of data now. So it's not going away, and they're not going to find things easy. But we can now create systems that allow you to put all that on the blockchain. So we're now starting to get our patents filed and public, and now you can start seeing what I've been doing for the last few years. Things like graph-based systems, DFAs. Yes, Bitcoin is Turing complete, and whether you like it or not, I've got peer-reviewed papers proving it coming out. How is really the issue. It's very simple. At the end of the day, you have unrolled loops. Anyone who's ever run a HPC, a high processing compute unit, will realize that each GPU unrolls code. Compilers do that now. Then you run them in parallel. You can pay miners to do this, and we're talking to teams at SBI and other things about actually doing that. We can actually have people paid per compute cycle. Not ads, not this bullshit internet model where people sell your privacy so that you get access. Real pay for use, which would cost most people for a whole Google service probably 50 cents to a couple dollars per year on something like that. We want everyone able to trade commodities, but honestly, within the regulations, making sure that people are protected. Right now, this whole idea, I saw someone talking about, we have a decentralized exchange. Our company runs a decentralized exchange. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Honestly, our company runs a decentralized exchange. Duh. A single company is not decentralized. You cannot be a decentralized blah. You are not decentralized. The fun thing no one gets is there is law. We have this thing called a common partnership. Not a limited liability partnership, but a common partnership. So what everyone's going is, we're decentralized. That just means you're liable. Say there's 100 people in your thing and one of them commits fraud. All 100 of you are liable. Yippee! Decentralize that. That's what they're asking for. So functionality. What we're doing is you will then get wallets that are application specific. Access transactions, access everything you need to do, whether it's the equivalent of a web page, whether it's computation, whether it's a game, I don't really care. And what you've seen with op return opening up is 1% of 1% of 1% of 1%, and I can keep doing that for about a week of what's about to come. So, EDI, this has been one I've been doing for a while. Anyone know the most common banking application for EDI? It's called Swift. Sorry, Swift, I've filed patents before you. Have a nice life. So, EDI is a $14 trillion industry. It basically is how Toyota survives. It is how most businesses in the world survive. We can do it for about 0.3% of the company transaction costs using Bitcoin. So no, I'm not going to tell you to go and buy a scam coin and flip and hoodle and all this bullshit. Quite frankly, what I want is companies using data, people using data, people using the blockchain. Not we're going to trade and run our little scam coin. Everyone doing that, go to fucking hell. You're the reason blockchain exists, to get rid of you. So, EDI and the blockchain, traditional architecture, we have it here. It's horrible. I remember when I was working at Staple, when I was in the military, whatever else, we did this stuff. It's awful. It works, but it's horrible. So, what we're going to do is look at how big this market is. It's huge. And then we're going to streamline processes for large organizations. That's why we need big blocks, because we're going to sell data as a commodity. I don't really care about exchanges for one reason. Walmart will pay to store data. Tesco will pay to store data. 50,000 banks globally will pay to store data.